it's okay to feel.
Yeah.
And that's one thing us men think you don't need to feel, you don't need to be that person that, has a tear or, actually feels stuff, instead of pushing it down, just actually stepping into it.
Yeah.
And that's one thing for me is where before I'd feel it and then go, oh, no, I don't want to go there. But now I actually move into it, it allows me to move through it more.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to another sauna session with Shay. We've got Justin Andrews back in the barrel sauna. How are you, mate?
Yeah, real good.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming back in. Yeah, now, mate, for everyone at home, Justin is a builder by trade, so you own Abode Constructions. And also, the main thing I want to talk to you about today is Inner Breath. And this is another venture you've gone on in the last, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, probably 3.5 years.
Before we get into it, mate, do you want to do the first ladling?
Yep.
Chuck some water on there. Let's get this sauna cranking. And we're just trying something new, mate. It's like we've got 5 questions. And out of those 5 questions, I'm going to work out based on my opinion, your IQ. Okay.
Love it.
All right.
It's going to be pretty low.
Ford or Holden?
I'm a Ford boy.
Okay, tick. Rum or bourbon? I know you don't drink it.
Probably a bourbon.
Okay, cross. Toilet paper over or under?
Over.
Yeah, it has to be. Broncos or Dolphins?
It'd have to be the Broncos.
Broncos. Okay, sandy beach or country air?
Beach.
Beach. Okay. If you walked into a public toilet and there's 3 cubicles, do you go to the closest one, the middle one, or the furthest one?
Furthest one.
Why is that?
Because I always know the other 2 have been smashed by other people before.
It's going to haunt people for years, that question, hey? But it worked out. It's like this. It's random. That one at the end could be blown up as well. You just never know. I always do the clean on the seats, though, mate. I always have to. Yeah,
always.
It's. I don't mind using the public toilet, but it's got to be clean.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, let's get into it, mate. So with Inner Breath, you've been doing this now. Like I did another session with you the other day. It's starting to grow.
Yeah.
People are starting to love it. So for people at home, what is Inner Breath and why did you go on this little journey?
Well, look, I went through a marriage divorce, and instead of me actually going off partying like it's 1999, I actually found myself through breath. And actually, a mate of mine brought me along to a session, and then for me, it just completely opened my eyes to something that I didn't know, and it really tapped into parts of myself that I didn't know either. And for me, living so much in my masculine, it sort of brought me to my feminine side, which allowed me to open me up more as a man,
Yeah.
And
do you feel like in a marriage breakup, the default is to go hit the drink, woe is me, be the victim, take drugs? Is that like in some ways that can be just the easy way to do? And just escape everything that's going on in your life.
And that's what I could have done, and that's what I probably did through my 20s, you know what I mean? Like that. So for me, and I said I didn't want to go and do that again. So for me, I wanted to find out why my marriage broke down, for me, because it's the way I turned up in the marriage, because I was not very, present.
Yeah.
And for me, with breathwork, it brings you back to present moment awareness, and that's the only thing you can change is your present moment. So you can't change the past or the future. You can plan for the future, but you can't change it, So for me, present moment awareness is one thing that's really allowed me to be there present for my children and present for the people that are around me as well.
Nice, mate. Do you find as a builder, your brain is ticking over 1,000,000 miles an hour and there's always something to do. There's always some job that needs to be done. Do you find that it pumps the brakes a little bit on how hectic life can be?
And that's the things what it's really done for me. It's given me this breathing room, as I can say. Instead of everything feel like it was right on top of me, it's given me this space to, instead of being reactive, it being proactive.
Yeah.
And also it's allowed me to be able to take on stress a lot better. So, we jumped in the ice bath earlier and we're here in the sauna. So I do that every day as well. So for me, it allows me to take on stuff where before I didn't know how to deal with it. I'd be feeling stressed, and I'd come home and I'd bring that home with me as well. With my marriage. And then, for me, I'd be because I'd be so in my head, I'd be thinking about what's happened that day or what's happened the next day, that I wasn't present.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's now I know how to, if I'm feeling that way before I come home, I go and do a little bit of breath work before I come back home to know that I'm present for the people that are around
Yeah,
me.
but I can see it in your eyes. It's so much clearer. Like we did a little bit of head dunking then with the ice bath. How'd you find that?
That was something I've never done before. I mean, I've
Yep,
done one once or twice before, but
yep,
not consecutive. So I
yeah,
did two of them. You did three, but I
yep,
did two, and
yep.
it's for me. It's actually, I think I'm going to keep doing it. It takes it to the next level. I feel.
Mate, like the only way to explain it to the punters at home is kind of like eating an ice cream too quick and getting a cold
Yeah, yeah,
headache, right?
totally.
But when that melts, the clarity, you feel like you can write a bloody a sonnet or a Mozart, some symphony.
Yeah,
So like there's definitely like the Christmas lights definitely light up when you
yep,
do that. And I just feel like, I don't know, I'm always looking for that. How do we take that a little bit further?
yep,
It's the one thing in the ice bath, like you do the ice bath at home.
yep,
Do you generally do it by yourself?
yep.
Yeah. Do you know when, like, because I'd never like to push it in the ice bath, especially when I'm alone. Do you like testing yourself, going a little bit longer? You know, what's the longest you've been in an ice bath?
And that's the thing is, I've never really done that because
No.
I know that 3 minutes is what all you really
Yeah,
need
yeah,
with
yeah.
your body, and you're not going to get any more benefit out of it, and unless it's a bit of a more of an ego thing where
Yeah.
you're showing, "Hey, I'm trying to beat my time," you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
So for me, it's always about what I'm going to get out of the ice bath. So I've always only ever done 3 minutes. I mean, I've done 5 and 6 minutes in the
Yep.
past, but
Yep.
every day I don't really do past 3 minutes. I just find that I know what I need from it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't need any more than that.
That's it. Yeah, spot on. So, but you've come out of that one, mate, and you feel like the brain's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 totally.
yeah. Good. So, mate, your daily routine, like you start at the gym
Mm-hmm.
at what, 4 a.m., 4:30?
So I get up at 4. I'm at the gym by, 20 past, 4:30.
Yep.
Push a bit of weights. Then I walk for about 15, 20 minutes afterwards. Then, the first thing I do, actually, I jump in my ice bath for the thing in the morning, already have my lunch, pack that ready to go, and then off to the gym, and then the gym.
Yep.
And then from there, I do the gym, then I walk, and then I jump into a sauna. So my gym has a sauna as well. So I do about
Yep.
15, 20 minutes. And while I'm in the sauna, that's when I do my breath work.
Yeah,
So I do a
right.
breath work in there. So two reasons why I do it. It cuts my time down and I'm at the gym as well.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then secondly, it is a little bit harder to actually breathe when you're
It's
in
a lot
there.
harder
Yeah,
in
it's
the
a lot.
sauna. Yeah.
So it makes it, a lot harder for me to breathe, and especially holding the breath.
Yeah.
It makes it really difficult to hold the breath.
Those nostrils burn, mate. Eh? If
Yeah, they
you
do.
breathe through the nose,
Yeah, they do.
yeah, you're sitting up on the top deck too.
Yeah, I do sit up on the top deck.
Not easy, mate. Now, mate, with like I was just checking out your website, Inner Breath, and one of the goals of Inner Breath was to help people realise the importance of filling their own cup first. Why do you think we're a society where we fill everyone's cup before our own? Why do we do that?
Because we are people pleasers.
Yeah,
Down
Yeah.
to down to it, we feel we have to help everyone first. So it's the analogy that everyone says, when you're in a plane, what do you grab first? You have to grab your oxygen first before you can grab someone else.
yeah.
So
yeah.
if everyone did that in their real life, they'd
Mm.
actually feel that they'd actually have more to give. So that's the reason why I do what I need to do for myself in the morning.
Yeah.
I have more to give to everyone that I interact with that day, instead of me being caught in this, especially running
Rush,
construction,
yeah.
this hamster wheel,
Yeah.
running around this hamster wheel, you slow that hamster wheel right down.
Yeah.
And then you know that you are, turning up your best version of yourself because you are looking after yourself first.
Yeah.
And then if you don't look after yourself first, you can't look after anyone else that's around you.
I think that's an important thing. And like, I see it with my mum. I love my mum to death, but she puts everyone else first.
Mm.
And I know, and she's got all this love to give, but I think if you look after yourself first, there's more love to give.
Mm-hmm.
You recharge the batteries. There's more of yourself, that's present to help other people. But you do have to look. But I think everyone's can be guilty of putting and as said, the people pleasing factor is like, when it comes to time on this planet, everyone sort of looks after everyone else's time, but not their own. And so I think that's a big factor that that awareness, being more aware of, hang on, is this actually serving me by doing this, and why am I always exhausted? So yeah, I think there's definitely something in that, mate, that that everyone needs to check in on, especially Australia. I don't know why we do it. It's a big thing. Everyone does it, Yeah.
And that's what Breathwork's done. It's exactly the word you just said. It's awareness.
Yeah.
So it brings awareness to yourself. So
Yep.
I'm more aware of my body than I ever have been.
Yeah.
And I'm more aware of where something's come up where I need to press in more on myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and that's why I feel that, everyone's there not looking after themselves, because especially us males, right? So men think that we're especially you're in a family, you're the provider.
Yeah.
So you go and provide, you go and look after your family,
Yeah.
and you come somewhere down here where if us men actually went out and did what I do, actually do stuff for themselves first in the day, they'd actually be better by the end of the day as well. They'd actually be more present for their family, and where, their cup's completely full.
Well, talking about awareness, what have you noticed about yourself in this journey in the last 3 to 4 years, and what's changed about yourself that you love, or you've said, hang on, this doesn't serve me, and you've got rid of?
Really understanding a situation a bit more that, for me, I'm reading a book at the moment called Mel Robbins, and Mel Robbins about let them, right? And
I've got it on the Audible list.
Yeah. So it's a really good book. So and that's one thing I've probably, listening to it again, is just letting people do what they do instead of just trying to control everyone.
Yep.
And only control what I can control.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing for me, the awareness around what is in my control.
Yep.
And everything out of that I can't control. So at the moment, my dad's just gone into a nursing home, and there's been a big divide in my family, right?
Yeah.
So my older sister and I have sort of gone together, and the other three have gone together. So for me, my older sister is the massive people pleaser.
Yeah.
And she's trying to appease them. So for me, I'm trying to help her to understand that she can't keep taking on their BS, and I can see what's happening, So that's the awareness, where before I'd be so stuck in it.
Yeah.
And so stuck in the story. Where I don't get stuck in the story anymore. I sort of then go out from it and see what's happening. And for me, I understand that. And so when you're in grief as well, people actually act out of childhood patterns, right?
For sure.
So they go back to childhood patterns. So that's where I can see where my other brothers and sisters are going, because they're actually acting out of childhood patterns, So for me, I sort of let them do what they need to do.
It's a strange thing, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, no one wants to be a 3 against 3 in a family. You want to be the Brady Bunch. You want to be 6. You want to be a united group. But it's like money or, health. And as you said, it does probably come back to a childhood thing that not everyone's thinking the same. Someone's the mediator, and there's all these people pleasers, but then there's the leader who may or may not be the right answer, but they're leading the way with, this is what we should do with Dad. You know what I mean? It's like, and you're playing on people's emotions. It's not an easy thing. And it's I'm going through something similar too, but it's like our family, we always find a way to work it out.
Yeah.
But it's not easy, and you can see how families get divided over, serious things like health of your mum or dad, but even money, like how, like I've said to my parents, I don't know about you, it's you guys should go to Paris, spend it. If we can't make it on our own, fuck us. Like, go have fun. Like, they're worried about us, like in death, having no money, and they want to provide for us even in death. How crazy is that?
It is crazy. It's totally crazy.
You know what I mean? So everyone's got their ways, and but it's at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but like my parents, when I rock up now, I just say, I love you. I put a smile on my face. They might start talking about Trump or some shit. I'm not really present in whatever they're talking about, but I'm just there, and I'm there to give them a hug and put a smile on my face, and if anything, brighten their day up.
Totally.
Yeah. So
that's what the awareness has done for me, is just understanding people more.
Yeah, right.
And understanding the situation, but instead of me sort of reacting.
So how has that gone on to your children? How's that worked with your kids?
So for me, that's been the biggest change for me, is my relationship with my children. So before, I was this very reactive person. Now the relationship I have with my 2 children, they live with me full time now, where only 12 months ago, or January last year, they were sort of forced up living with me. And, you know, in the last 12 months, it's been a big journey, you know, me having someone in my space, which I was pretty much just living a single man's life, but now having something, it took me a little while to adjust and that, but now we're in a really good place between all three of us. It's
nice.
it's, you know what, I'm the luckiest man alive that my two children live with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Like, I was just thinking, just go back a little bit on that let them thing with Mel Robbins. It was two parts to it, wasn't there?
Yep.
So it's like
let them and let me.
Yes, yeah, but it's taking responsibility. Yeah, and that's the second part, and that's where I'm into the book right now.
Yeah.
But there is, like, we as humans, we've got the ability to try and control something that's out of our control totally. Right, and think about it, and then go to bed on it, and wake up the next day, and it's like, hang on, and then still be infuriated by it. The let them thing definitely does put a line in the sand, doesn't it? But it's also taking you've got ownership of what's going on,
and that's another thing for me where I never ever played with my marriage divorce. I always owned what I did in the marriage.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, my ex-wife always put it on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always 50%. So, but that's her journey, right? Whatever she's doing, it's her journey. But for me, I've always owned, and that's one thing I've learned, that when I have a situation with someone like my partner at the moment, actually something came up over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
And it took me, I had to go away to go and think about it. And I said, look, I own this part of it. And then when we come back together, it's such different, where before I didn't know how to do that before. In a relationship, I always kept, oh, it's you, it's not fair, you know, and that's a childhood pattern.
Well, I was going to say, was that all you saw in your household growing up?
Yeah,
you know, and
it was.
If you didn't know any other way,
that's it.
You can be aware as you know, night and day, but also if you haven't learnt to do it another way, then it's like you kind of just beating your head against a wall. You're just like, well, this is the only way I know.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, hang on. That's when you start looking out and you start exploring, I suppose, and you start getting curious about other ways of doing things. But
Correct.
I think I don't know, there's all these little minute things we've got through our childhood that you can go to your deathbed when you're 80 or 90 and you haven't resurrected any of those things, and you've just lived a life of, I don't know, it's everything that your parents taught you back in the day. And like, they're obviously going to teach you some really good things, but there's also some things that, you know, aren't going to serve you that you need to really adjust. But the big thing is, you don't know what you don't know. So it's like, okay, how do I, you know, spin that in my head to try and find a way that works for me, but also, you know, you said with your partner, you're looking for something that, like, you want to work together. You know, you don't want to be loggerheads all the time, you know, so that awareness from both parties is paramount for a relationship to flourish, isn't it?
I never had that in my marriage of 20 years, you know.
Right.
So I never had that. But that was me, because the way I turned up in it. I don't think I allowed that space, and I don't think I gave her the safety of what men are supposed to do to make her feel safe that she could come and talk to me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I've created that safe space that my partner now can actually come to me and talk to me.
Yeah. Mate, I love talking to you about this, because I think where I saw you, because I knew you before, like, I don't know, known you about 6-7 years. And I think, like, you are this outgoing, very just full of energy, but like, you almost getting in fights, like you were getting in fights 6 to 7 years ago. Yeah. And now this has like been a full revamp. This is a Justin 2.0 in some way. But you've done everything the opposite of the way you know, most people do it. Mate, I'll take my hat off you. I think it's just a real, you know, and the change is just been phenomenal, mate. And, you know, I think a lot of people are looking at what you're doing and going, oh, hang on, how do I get a bit of that going on in my life? You know, because it's not working what I'm doing. So, you know, it's, mate, it's got to be
and that's why I did want to change too, Shays, because something wasn't working.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, the analogy, if you keep doing the same thing and expect to change, that's the first sign of madness, So I needed to change something. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I did.
But little things, even like you haven't touched a drop of alcohol for a while, have you?
No.
So that's huge, isn't it?
Yep.
You know, I've never heard anyone wake up and go, fuck, the best thing I ever did was take up drinking again.
Yeah.
My relationship is awesome. I can smell the roses.
Yeah, yeah.
And my kids love me. You know,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen when you start taking up drinking. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
maybe there's someone out there that's, you know, it works for, but I generally don't hear that,
No.
that's the
No,
case.
that's right.
But there's all these little incremental things. So you stop drinking. You started taking ownership for all your shit.
Yeah.
Right. And then you started building new relationships as well. And then you started searching for people that were like-minded to go, well, you know, we're all in this journey together.
Correct.
But you, at no stage were you closed-minded about the whole experience.
No.
So, and then you're flexible, you're malleable for the whole thing. So there's a part of you, what is like, okay, that works. So are you starting now to filter? It's like, this works, this doesn't? Like, how's your mindset working now?
Yeah, and that's really funny thing. So I'm not going to say any names, but I've just started working with another men's coach, right?
Yeah.
And I worked with him and I did his 6-week program.
Mm.
And I was supposed to go on his retreat, and I never went because there was a couple of things that probably happened that I just didn't resonate. Like
the red flags.
There was a couple of red flags.
Yeah.
So I paid for the retreat, and I said, look, and I said, look, you just take the money and everything and stuff. I'm out. And he's been trying to, and I just haven't reached out to contact him because for me, and that's what I'm saying, that there's a couple of red flags that I just said, well, you know, I've known a lot of people who are men's coaches in this.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't see them doing this and this and this, you know what I mean? And, I'm not trying to be judgmental around it.
Yep.
I've just kept that to myself.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say anything to him. I've just gone, okay, you know, we just haven't worked out, and that's it. And that's all that needs to happen.
Leave it there.
Yeah. So for me, and that's the same with the red flags, you know, there's a few things that, you know, I've been in the spiritual space for a little while now, and there's a couple of things that probably have worked for me and some things that probably haven't. You know?
Yeah. That's part of the journey.
Correct.
It's not all going to be hunky-dory and roses and unicorns, is it?
Yeah, totally.
Mate, well, look, I don't think I've even told you this, but I did an experience with you. We did a breathwork for an hour down in Goldie.
Yep.
And we all got up. Or maybe I have told you this, but people at home don't know about this. I got out of that breath session after an hour, and I was crying like a little 5-year-old that just dropped his paddle pop on the ground.
How good.
And everyone, like, these are big, burly builders, right? And they're all like, you know, we're macho, we can build houses and we can wield hammers and, you know, we know how to use saws and all that sort of shit. But we were all crying.
Yep.
And so we're all releasing this pain, or we're going through something, or that's flowing through us. What's the patterns you see when you do this breath work, mate? That, you know, when people come out of a session, or what's the main sort of pain you see from people?
A lot of childhood patterns.
Is it? Yeah.
And for me, people live, you know, God bless our parents.
Yeah.
They've created a lot of, and I've said that to my children too. I said, guys, I've put stuff on you guys. Yeah. But it's up to you to heal from it. I can't heal you. Yeah. Whatever I've done I've done, and it's not intentional, but it's just, you know, I only know what I know. You know, and that's the same with my parents. You know, the parents, you know, whatever they did, I loved them to bits. Yeah. But there was some things that probably not the best way to do things, but and that's where a lot of that plays out with people. And it's a lot of childhood patterns that come out and play out in their life because they actually haven't gone back. Yeah. So when you're actually doing breath work, it takes you to places where you've never tapped before. It does, yeah. So it takes you places to your subconscious, where you go to places and you go, well, yeah, I remember, and like it even brings up family hurts. You know, like there was a guy there down the last one we just did down at Kingscliff, and he was talking about his grandfather, and he's never really healed from his grandfather. Yeah, right. Yeah, and so then he actually felt a lot of peace around that because he actually went back and he saw his grandfather came to him when he was in the breathwork. Oh, really? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So that's one of the things that can happen, you know, because, you know, we're a spirit. Yeah. Yeah. We're a spirit living a human experience. Yep. So our spirit still is, you know, around even though we die. That's my opinion. Yeah. But the thing is where, you know, they do come to you when, and I've done a journey as well where I did a breathwork journey and my 2 kids came to me and it was quite evident that, you know, that they were going to come and live with me, and I'd never believed it. And that was like 3 years ago. Yeah, you know? Yeah. And then here we are now, you know. Yep. So things can play out in your life that, you know, that you've never knew that was in your mind. What's your take, mate, on like frequencies and actual rhythm and tempo? Like I find that, look at us when we just finished breathwork today, like our rhythm and the way we spoke to each other was different
because we've just come out of something. It's like you've got a split second more to answer a question with like actually think about a question and respond in a way. Like in today's world, we've got everyone's drinking bloody V's and mothers and all this shit.
Yeah, of course.
And caffeine up to it's almost like an agitation of communication.
Yep.
Where do you see that fits by what you're doing? Do you find that you've actually pumped the brakes a lot and you're not as high geared as you used to be?
Yeah, and
you brought yourself to another frequency?
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's changed me the way I react. Well, I probably was very reactive.
Yes.
So now it's allowed me to have that breathing space to actually make sure that, I don't react. And that's one thing as well, people are already, the phones really don't help either. You know what I mean? Because everyone, and that's one thing that's created, I feel, in the last 15 years. And that's why there's so much mental awareness around and so much mental health, because with the phones, everybody wants everything now.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do the hard yards. They want to go from, and this is where I'm with my son. He wants to go from here to being, a millionaire. But the thing is, and same as my daughter, she's just started a hairdressing apprenticeship, and she wants to. I said, Montana, you've got to go and do the hard yards first before you even think of it. So, and that's the thing, is that they haven't built enough resilience with their kids with the way the phones are. Do
people growing up, do they understand patience?
No, they don't. They want everything now. There's no patience for anything.
So if you don't know what you don't know again, look, it's gonna. I think it's just going to be really tricky for the young generation, because they're born with a freaking phone or an iPad in their hand.
Yeah.
So everything's just swipe right, instant. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. Do you worry about what's for your kids? What's happening 10 years from now, 20 years from now?
So for them, I actually, gave them my journal to help them journal, and also give them a bit of a breathwork practice myself. But no one ever listens to their parents, So I always try and get my friends that are in the space to talk to them about it, just to know that, that how to slow themselves down. So my daughter does listen to me, like she does do.
How old is your daughter?
She's 18.
18.
So she puts her legs up the wall at night when she's feeling a bit overwhelmed, because when you put your legs up the wall at night and do a bit of breath work, it actually regenerates all your blood through your whole body.
Yeah, right.
And then it also allows you to fall asleep a lot quicker as well, because you've actually got new blood in your feet.
Yeah.
So it's called restless legs. So you actually do that when you're actually feeling a bit strung out.
That's a good one.
You put your legs up the wall and you do a bit of a breath work, and it just makes you go fall asleep. So she does do that when she's feeling that. She actually does that, and she, I've got a bit of a thing called NSDR, which is a non-sleep deep rest breath that I give her as well, that she can listen to for that as well. So Andrew Huberman's one.
Yeah.
So
do you sleep well, mate?
No.
Okay.
I don't. And that's the thing, is where I'm actually seeing a naturopath at the moment, where I'm actually trying to, and you wouldn't believe it, my nervous system's actually right out at the moment. So I'm actually seing a naturopath at the moment to try and fix that through not just my food, but just a few other stuff that I'm doing at the moment I do my bloods and everything. So I'm working with a naturopath at the moment to try and really help my sleep at the moment.
Do you take a long time to get to bed, or does your head hit the pillow and you're out?
I'm out.
Yeah.
It's just staying asleep. Yeah. So what happens is when you wake up at that 1 or 2 o'clock, that's your nervous system overloaded.
Yeah. Cortisol.
Yeah. So you got to try and bring that down. So I'm actually taking a herb at the moment to try and bring my nervous system back down again.
Yeah. Okay.
It's called Neurocalm. So I've only just started that in the last 2 weeks. So look, I feel fine. Like I feel really rejuvenated. Like I slept really well last night. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But for me, the sleep, I do wake up and, especially running your own business. Your head's always running, and it's hard to switch off sometimes,
But I woke up the other night at 1 a.m. going, shit, I left the eggs in the car. And went out, and sure enough, they were under like a bag, but they were there. And like, what I mean? I was like, who the fuck does that?
At 1 o'clock in the morning.
Just let them fucking rot.
That's it. I'm sleeping.
But it's look, and in some ways, I know that that's kind of my gift as well. Yeah. Because I know that I can really like getting in on those small things, and it's a superpower. And like I can actually think about 20 things ahead of what's going on when I get in that zone.
Yeah.
But to wake up and like for that sort of stuff, but I'm very similar too. So I'm starting to investigate, because I'm the same. I'm out within a minute
Yeah.
My head, but at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and it's generally my body's waking up because of heat.
Yeah.
So I start sweating, but I think there's a cortisol problem there that I'm looking into.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of guys are getting up, going like hitting the hay heavy, and then getting up that 2, and it's a bad routine because then you're up at 2 a.m. and then you can't get back to sleep till 4, and then you're in a deep sleep, and then you got to get up.
Yeah.
And so it really fucks your sleep pattern.
It does.
Yeah, but I'm finding a lot of people are going through that. So yeah. No,
I even tried melatonin there for a bit, and melatonin is not good for you to take a long time because it actually decreases testosterone, and there's got a lot of bit of side effects around it. So I actually stopped that.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's to help your circadian rhythm, which is your sleeping, you know what I mean? So your circadian rhythm, so that's where my circadian rhythm's out. So it needs to be fixed. So I'm actually investigating the best way.
Your rhythm's generally about 60 to 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so if you break that at the 45-minute mark, you're kind of fucked. Like you're out of cycle.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, like if you try and have a power nap and you fall asleep, you wake up with like your throat's all sore or dry mouth, and you're like, this is fucked. And then you're totally out of whack again. Yeah. So it's not easy. Yeah. No. Mate, what's your take on hallucinogenics?
I've done everything.
Yeah.
So I've done ayahuasca, I've done mushrooms, I've done DMT.
Yep.
And for me, they really helped me a lot to move through a lot of at that time when I did them, you know what I mean? So like the psilocybin journey I did, and I've also done harpe as well, which is an American, South American tobacco as well. They blow up your left side and you die of yourself, and then they do up the right, and you actually come back as your new self. You know what I mean? So, and that's pretty full on. You know
where's that from?
From South America.
Okay,
it's called harpe. It's tobacco, and they blow it up your nose.
Okay,
yeah. So and I actually, so when I did it, one experience I had, and I actually purged quite a lot on that.
Yeah, right.
Vomited.
Yeah, wow.
Because I had a lot of stuff coming up, and
Jesus,
and purging it out of so it purges it out of your body. What
wow.
it is. So. And I did Aya a couple of years ago as well. That was quite amazing. I actually was in there and I actually was talking to celestial beings, and they actually said I was going to be in a stadium talking to people, and it said to me I'm going down the right path, what I'm doing. And
nice.
It was actually pretty profound experience.
Mate, I haven't tried any hallucinogenics, but I'm very open to giving them all a crack. And I think I don't know, I've been listening to other people about how that hallucinogenic journey through the 60s and 70s just opened horizons, and the way people thought and the way they produced music, and it was just out of this world.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like in some ways we've been cracked down on that, and we're more, let's sit and watch Netflix and eat CCs,
So psilocybin has just been legal in Texas at the moment.
Is it? Yeah.
So they're actually having, the best environment to do it in is actually in full ceremony. You know what I mean? So every time I've done it in ceremony.
Okay.
So I've done it in a mushroom, and there's about 10 or 15 other people with me doing it. I actually have held space in a ceremony as well.
Yeah.
For a psilocybin mushroom journey, you know. But then I did it with another fellow where I did ayahuasca, and that was just amazing. There was about 20 people in the room.
Yeah.
That was a whole experience where, you stayed and he integrated you, and it was a really
in the ayahuasca experience, are you connecting with other people, or is it just your own space?
You were in the room, but you try and keep your energy to yourself. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because it's all about you.
Yeah.
And you got to try not to, and because even when you do a breath work, sometimes you can hear other people screaming and hollering and stuff. It's hard to keep focus on yourself.
Understandable. Yeah.
But it's just, it's got to bring you back to yourself. You know what I mean? So I'll never forget the first time.
All these ones you've done, they all controlled environments. They're all,
They've all been, it hasn't been just like taking them, it's been controlled. So the first psilocybin journey I did about 3 years ago, and I was actually going there to cut my heartstrings to my ex-wife.
Yeah, right.
And I actually had set an intention around that.
And
I did do that, So for me, there's been, when I've actually gone in, I've actually set a pretty big intention to the reason why I'm doing it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. And then that comes to the forefront. That just, bubbles over or boils up. Yeah. So which one did you enjoy the most? What was the one that really got a lot out of it?
DMT was really quick. So DMT, you smoke it and DMT, you're in and you're only in for about 15 minutes, but you're out. But the colors are the most vivid colors and the shapes.
Okay.
I actually met my creator there when I went there, and I actually was building stuff with my creator.
Jesus.
But I was only there for 15 minutes, but I felt I was there for a freaking lifetime.
So how does that work? Can you see them up above, or are they
it's
just in your head?
Yeah, it's just because it knocks you out. You just go back and you lay back. And
what does your creator look like?
And that's the thing. It wasn't really anything. Do you know what I mean? It was just, I just knew my creator was there, and it was just, he wasn't anything. You know?
Yeah.
It was just a being there that was just there.
Cool.
It was so.
But you were building things together.
Yeah, we're building stuff. We're building building blocks and everything and stuff together. It was so cool. It was really awesome. It was a really cool experience.
So if anyone, because obviously, have you given peyote a crack?
That's the only one I haven't done. And peyote's, cactus plant.
Yeah.
And that's the masculine. So the ayahuasca is the feminine side.
Yeah.
And the peyote is the masculine.
Yeah.
So I did the feminine. I haven't done the peyote, which is a bit more intense than what our Aya is.
So before you did all this stuff, you were very, very masculine though, weren't you?
Totally.
Yeah. And so now you're starting to come to your feminine side and starting to realise, hang on, there's an equilibrium here with playing with both, but also discovering both. Go exploring about your feminine side.
Yeah, that's right.
So would you say for all the punters at home, start you don't feel that you need to be the big gruff guy that has to sort everything out.
Yeah.
Tap into your feminine side because you may surprise yourself. You never know.
It's okay to feel.
Yeah.
And that's one thing us men think you don't need to feel, you don't need to be that person that, has a tear or, actually feels stuff, instead of pushing it down, just actually stepping into it.
Yeah.
And that's one thing for me is where before I'd feel it and then go, oh, no, I don't want to go there. But now I actually move into it, it allows me to move through it more. And then.
Well, I think so many people are on the cusp of going through the pain and dealing with it, and pulling up just before they jump off the cliff. You know what I mean? And it's if you just went through that pain, you'd understand what's going on in yourself better, but you'd also dealt with it, or dealing with it. It's quite easy to stop on the edge of the cliff, isn't it? And I think just allowing yourself to cry, allowing yourself just to be.
To feel.
To feel
it all, like happiness, sadness, grief.
Yeah.
Feeling it all. You know? And the thing is,
man, I'm getting some goosebumps of sauna. This is good.
This men don't know how to.
Yeah.
They use a vice to actually suppress that.
Yeah.
So when they're starting to move into that, they're going, oh, I don't want to go there. I'll go to porn. I'll go to alcohol. I'll go to drugs. I'll go to anything. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want to go there. But once you go there, you realise how much more you can actually move through it by actually fully feeling whatever that feeling is.
I totally agree, mate. 100%. Do you mind go a bit of eucalyptus? Yeah. This is my peyote, mate. But I'm like I said, I think there's science is starting to back it up to all the hallucinogenics that there's some good stuff there, and you start to tap into who you are and your spirit, and I think there's something that in it's not about getting shit faced. It's actually, being in a controlled environment, but understanding what's going on inside upstairs or just within your body, so, yeah.
And don't fight it if you do get to go and do it. Don't fight it. Just allow it to come through. And that's one thing I just did. I just allowed it to come through.
Yep. So do you see when you do your inner breath stuff that there's a lot of people fighting? What's going on there?
Some people do.
Yeah.
They don't just allow the experience just to come through. They try and fight it, and that's where technique comes in. Where so you get a look at hand cramping and stuff like that.
Well, can you explain a bit of that? Because we did some video stuff for you a couple of weeks ago, and I was noticing you doing stuff with the hands.
Yep.
There's energy flows going on.
Yep.
There's picking up of legs, and so what's going on there with all that stuff?
So we actually, because a lot of your stuff you get stuck in your hips, right? So you actually move in the energy, and then also you can get tetany with your hands cramp up and everything. So that's stuck energy.
Yeah, right.
Which usually can be a trauma or something like that. So your body's not allowing you to go there. So when you go over there and start massaging their hands and everything, you're just trying to release that energy.
Yeah.
And when you're in the hips as well, I saw Nate doing the leg movement.
Yeah.
He's actually moving the energy within their legs to
Yep.
move that energy through their body so it doesn't get stuck. Because
Yeah.
sometimes if you don't move it, it can just stay there.
Yeah,
So
wow.
the best way is to move that energy within their body.
Yeah. And even the guys, like they're big burly guys you got working with you, but they're quite happy to tap into being a dick, dancing like an idiot, hugging people. Like they're like, to judge a book by its cover and go, oh, he's probably a rugby player that, doesn't cry. But total opposite with all those guys, aren't they? Like they're all quite very welcoming and like from an energy perspective, they're allowing people into their space, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's goes to show never judge a book by its cover.
And that's why I picked those guys to come down, you know what I mean? Like, Nathan and I, the big tall guy, him and I have done a lot of healing together.
Yeah, right.
Over the last 4 years, we've done so many breathwork journeys and psilocybin together and all sorts of stuff that, him and I, I've seen him go from what he was to what he is now. And like, he's a completely different man to what he was, completely different. Like, it's amazing how much he has grown in the last 3 years,
Yeah. And Tilly, is it?
Yeah.
She's got a great energy about her.
Yeah, she's amazing. So I've known her for some time too, and she went through a lot but she's come through the other side, and she's just amazing. She's got her own thing going on as well. Yeah. So all those guys have got their own breathwork thing going on, and men's coaches as well. Yep. So I just knew that they were the right people to come down and help us.
Yeah, nice, mate. Mate, what's your take on weed?
Look, it doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
Because I just I'll have a spliff now and then with a mate of mine. Yeah. But they actually are using it now for the same as what psilocybin. So a mate of mine's actually just learned how to do that.
Okay.
Actually use it, and he's actually showed me a video of how he went and did they get him so, inebriated on the marijuana that he went back to a time when he was 15.
Shit, yeah.
And when he got bashed by these two guys, and he actually was there fighting them and everything. It was actually, he showed me the video, and he said, he's done so much healing, this guy.
Yeah.
He's been to Peru and everything, and he said he'd never ever gone there, and he said it was a quite amazing experience.
Yeah, wow. I'm a bit the same, mate. Like I don't mind and I'm a two-toke wonder. Like
same.
I'm a Cadbury, and that's it. But what I find sometimes is I'm not quite present the next day. I'm a bit scattered. I don't want to be that for my wife.
Yeah.
So I want to show up and be the best version I can. But I think every now and again, just to even slow the brain down, I don't know about you, but what I find is it levels me out in the moment, and I'm very quite on a plane and quite a good frequency.
Yeah.
But then when the next day, I find I can be quite erratic emotion, like not crazy, not hugely, but it's not me with balanced, So
and see, when you take plant medicine, which is iron, you don't get that.
Yeah.
So I find marijuana, I do get like a hangover from it.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Like alcohol.
Yeah.
But with iron psilocybin, you don't get that anymore, because it is from the. So everyone's got it's from the earth, So nothing in it is going to ever, and that's why alcohol affects you so much, is because the actual chemicals in it.
Yeah.
That affects you for the next day.
Oh, mate, I just feel that alcohol companies are doing me a favour, to tell you the truth. The amount of shit that's in them these days, sulphites and the wines, and the red wine headache is a horrible one. But mate, when we went to Italy, we were drinking a bottle of red wine every night, and I'd go to bed and sleep like a baby. Yeah. Like there's nothing in it. Like there's no gunk in it. It's just good wine. But we were also walking 20 k's a day, so you're walking it all off. But it felt really good. But the stuff here in Australia is it's crap. Really bad, and preservatives and just no good. So it's like, where do you think you'd be to? No, I'm not going to ask that. I was going to ask, where do you think you'd be today if you're still drinking?
Where would I be?
Yeah.
Me, I don't think it'd be any different, you know what I mean? But I just don't look for it. Like, when I go to dinner, I'm just quite happy just to sip on a soda water. And for me, I just don't. And that's another reason why I did it, because my partner, she gave up booze, 10 years ago, and for a reason. But me, I started dating her, and I was sort of on that journey, but then I just continued because I was with her. And for me, it's about the respect thing, though. I don't want to drink in front of her, you know what I mean? Because and it just flowed on, and now I don't even look for it.
It definitely helps to have a partner that's doesn't have not into all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like if you've got that addictive personality that you're always into alcohol or drugs or whatever, if your partner's in the same stuff, you could be in a bit of strife. It's like what's in the fridge, you know?
Yeah, totally.
There's always beer in the fridge.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally.
Well, mate, I got to, I don't know if I have told you the story, but I do have to thank you because like from that Gold Coast experience, one of the other builders, Brett Fowler, we were walking down the beach to go for a swim, and he said, what'd you get out of that? And I said, I feel like I got to get my drum kit back. I could feel the beats that Justin was playing. It was just like resonating through me. And it's like something 10 years ago I loved doing. I was doing it full time. And I got sick and I was out on my bum for almost a year and a half. And he was like, I got to get my fucking drums back. That Monday morning, he's texted me and said, so when can I expect you have the new drum kit?
He
Keep me accountable. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, fuck you. I'm going to give you a date. So I went to the big calendar, the big visual one, and I put it in drum kit by this date. And that's why there's a drum kit in my garage now, mate. So it's all because of you.
Awesome. How good. And do you do bang on it?
I love it, mate.
Yeah,
I love
awesome.
it. It's just like I've got the ice bath on one side of the desk, and I've got the drum kit on the other side. So if ever I feel like, I'm stand-up desk. I'm up and down, and I'm constantly moving. I just don't feel like as humans we should be spending 10 hours in front of a computer. But if I do get a little fidgety, drum kit's on my left or ice bath is on my right. Everything's where it's supposed to be. So
beautiful.
But it's kind of setting up a sanctuary that is an extension of me. So if you do, and obviously in 2025, it's what's here. You know what I mean? So and understanding blue light and looking after your eyes and all that sort of stuff. But I think doing these things, you can still do all that stuff, but you got to have your gym and your backups of I got to lash out on the drums, mate, and just hit them hard.
So, and that's what people got to realise. They got to find something for themselves.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's for them.
Yeah,
for nobody else.
Yeah.
You sit there on the drums and you lose yourself in the drums.
Yeah,
and you just for you, it's just it allow you to feel
sure.
You feel amazing afterwards because you could stay there for half an hour to an hour. You know what I mean?
Well, it is at one time. And I hear a lot of people that are massive thinking, like the brain's going. They're either into drags or they're dragsters or quarter mile, 10 seconds. You can't think in that time. You just got to concentrate, fully focus. Have you got something like that?
Yeah.
What are you into?
Me, I'm not like that. For me, or
are you getting enough of it?
I think I get enough of what I do. You know what I mean? For me, I get enough high out of me doing the ice baths and saunas and going in the gym and stuff like that. So for me, it's just about it's just looking after me. Yeah, that's what I mainly do. Really, at the end of the day.
Were you a surfer at some stage?
I did surf. I surfed most of my life.
Yeah,
and probably the last couple of years, I'm probably not surfing as much, and that's probably one thing I'm probably missing more than getting out on the surf and having a surf.
Mate, I remember being out the back at Noosa, like when sun was coming up. These there was about 5 70-year-old guys, and just the look on their face is like they worked out what life was all about.
Yeah.
Just in that moment, and I was surrounded by them, and I'm like, okay, I'll be lucky by the time I get to 70, if I'm like these dudes, because they just obviously they're doing it every day. They're keeping active, they're moving. There's glassy water. There's freaking dolphins out the back.
Good.
Like how good, So they've, but there's something about a content smile, and I love seeing content smiles on my face, and I can start to see with you, mate.
It's good.
It's a good look, mate. I so appreciate you coming in for a chat today, and hats off for the drum kit, mate. It's all because of you. So
I love it.
Thank you so much, mate. And, mate, if people want to jump on and check out Into Breath and they want to come down, because you're doing what, Saturday sessions?
Yeah, Saturday. So this Saturday I've got one on at the 22nd of March.
Is it New Farm?
Newstead.
Okay.
Newstead Park.
Okay. All right. So jump on the website. We'll throw some stuff in the show notes, but go check out Into Breath. And, mate, you're a legend.
Thanks.
Appreciate your time. Thanks, mate.
Ciao.
All right, guys. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe, like all that sort of shit, and go check out Into Breath, and we'll see you for the next episode.